Hi, I'm Daniel Cunningham, CEO of Leonardo 24/7, and today I'll be discussing maintenance coordination. If you're struggling with maintenance coordination, it probably starts with that you don't have a plan. Any great maintenance program, any great property with a great maintenance history has a great plan. And that plan needs to include a preventative maintenance program for every piece of equipment, every amenity, anything at that property that requires proactive as well as reactive maintenance. So you need to take stock of all the equipment and amenities that you have on that property, and you make a plan throughout the year on what you plan to do with that. And then you need to communicate that plan. So everyone that's at that property that's going to have some responsibility, you need to communicate to them what the maintenance plan is for that property. And then you need to make sure that the people understand and agree to the plan, because you can have a plan, and if there's not real buy-in and people are like rolling their eyes, like, we're not going to do that, we don't have time to do that, then your plan's going to fail. And then even when everyone has agreed to the plan and nodded their head vigorously that that's the plan they should be following, you need to make sure that they know how to execute the plan. Is everybody trained in all the preventative maintenance or maintenance requirements that are going to be asked of them throughout the year to comply with your plan? You want to have consistency. You want to make sure that that same plan, the same process is followed at all your properties by every single service manager who's there, regardless of whatever turnover that's happened. And then you need to figure out who's going to execute those different parts of the plan. You need to be able to assign the different parts of the preventative maintenance schedule or the reactive work order schedule. You need to be able to assign that to people, employees or vendors, so that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. And then you need to be able to keep track of the status of all those things that have been assigned to people on site. And you need a way to measure performance. You need accountability. So if somebody's been asked to do something, you need to be able to tell and track that they've been assigned to that task, that task has been completed in accordance with the plan, and then that all the data associated with it has been captured. If they're doing if they're maintaining a piece of equipment, if there's a process, an inspection form, that has been captured, that's been saved somewhere. And if there's data in that form, you have a way to get it out and extract it and use it. Like, for example, if they're capturing the pH levels of a pool, you need a way to capture that information so that if the pH is out of normal range, you have the visibility to do something about it. And then you need a method, you need a platform to store the history of all of these items that have been completed at your property. The reactive work order stuff, the proactive maintenance plan, when was it done, who did it, what was the process they followed, what forms did they complete. You need a place to keep all that, and ideally a dashboard that gives you real-time visibility into all of those things that were completed, and if anything was missed, brings it right to the top so that has your attention, and you can make the decision whether or not it was okay that somebody didn't do a part of your plan. That was really actually the whole reason for the genesis of Leonardo 24/7, because all of those things that I just mentioned are really difficult to do all together. People can do one piece or another piece in the old analog world, but to do it all and track it all, you need a platform to be able to communicate that plan, make sure people are following that plan, track as they do it, and then store all the data that's collected as a result. And that's the purpose of Leonardo 24/7, actually. If you're going to have a maintenance program, first of all, you need a way to record what that maintenance program is and establish what your best practices, your policies and procedures, what those are to begin with. And then you need some way to communicate those to everybody in the field. And then you need some way to assign the individual tasks that are contained in that plan to the two people in the field. And then you need a way to track that it's being done. How that's been handled in the past has been really inefficient. Like, the giant binders have been established with the maintenance program in there, and reams of pages of processes that people are supposed to fill out and sign off on and date when they did it. And anytime any of those processes changed, it was very difficult to get that implemented across a large portfolio. Not to mention, if you ever needed to go back in time and you wanted to look and see what had been done, You wanted to pull up a specific inspection. That was a real pain if you could even find it to begin with. So the right tool for maintenance coordination in today's world is an operations and maintenance system like Leonardo 24/7 that is not just work orders, because that can be part of it, but handles the proactive part of maintenance, which is a subtle aspect that's oftentimes overlooked. It's very easy to live in reactive mode where you're getting work orders from the property and you're fixing those work orders. But if you don't take care of the proactive part of property operations, if you're not going out and fixing things before there's a problem and properly maintaining things, you're going to have additional breakdowns. You're going to have capital expenditures that aren't budgeted. So you need a tool that can push out to the right person at the right time, the right process with the right form that they need to be successful in implementing that maintenance plan. And so at Leonardo 24/7, our platform is really aimed at being allowed you to start with what is my process, codifying that, turning it into action, and then tracking real time that those things are being done, and giving you real time visibility in case anything was missed, so that you can get involved, the senior executive can get involved, the property manager can get involved, and make sure that if something was missed, that it wasn't serious, if there was a reason why, or just make sure it gets done. If you're a third-party management company, proper maintenance coordination is really important, because if you perform poor maintenance at that property, you're going to have a poorly looking property and you're going to have unhappy residents. That's going to translate to lower occupancy. It's going to translate to issues with reputation. Residents are going to go online and they're going to talk about how bad the maintenance is. You're going to have higher turnover costs because residents are not going to want to stay at your property. You're going to have lower achievable rents because you're not going to be able to charge top of market rents when your property doesn't look as well as the property next to it does. And your company itself is going to end up with bad ratings, either online or word of mouth. So you need to make sure that your preventative maintenance program is thorough, consistently implemented, that you can provide accountability so that you have happy residents, so that you have happy owners and happy clients. And that then is the best way to grow your business, is happy clients, happy residents turning into referrals. I'm Daniel Cunningham, CEO of Leonardo 24/7. Thank you for joining me as I talked about maintenance coordination. If you'd like to learn more, visit us at leonardo247.com and request a demo today.